How you doing? Thanks for stopping by my channel. And I have a question here from a viewer that wants to know, um, can we combine carbs and fats together in our meal? And how important is it to be able to combine carbs and fats? Great question. Thank you so much for asking the question. And yes, we can have, and we should have the carbs and the fats in our meal, as well as the protein. The issue is now then how much carbs and how much fat should we have in any given meal. And I would say that we want to make sure that the both of them are not the same ratio. If you're going to consume carbs, you got to make sure that the fat is a little lower. So if you're going to do 40% of that meal is going to be in carbohydrates, 10 of that 10% should be fat. If you're going to do fat as a major energy source, you want to do 35% of that energy source in fat and 15% of that in carbohydrate. Our ratio is similar to that. It depends on who you are. If you're an elite athlete, or if you're just someone in the gym, you want to be able to make sure. If you're an active person, then those numbers can change slightly for you, because both of those are energy sources and they need to be used quickly. The interesting thing about carbohydrate is, as soon as you start to eat it, it's being processed in the mouth through the digestion of the chewing, and then the body's going to immediately use that carbohydrate as an energy source. And then whatever's not utilized immediately through some kind of activity is going to be stored into the liver as a glucose, or stored into the muscle as a glucose. So you can see how the carbohydrate is what is being used almost immediately. On the other hand, fat is a slower to digestive micronutrient, and it transports itself through the system or through the bloodstream, and it goes to the fat stored cells, or the areas where we hold on to the fat the most. And then the fat is then used when necessary. And what I mean by necessary, when there is no carbs available, then the body will tap into the fat cells and then use the fat as an energy source. So what we want to try to avoid is not to have too much fat, because it's not going to be used immediately, and of course not too much carb, because if you do too much carb, then that will be stored in fat cells. So you can see that's the problem you can run into. That's why it's very important to make sure that you see your diet pretty mapped out to some degree, or at least know how much carbs and proteins and fat you're having in each meal. Another interesting point to make out about both the carbs and fats, they're both made up of a carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. So both of them are trying to fight to be the energy source that you need. I like to look at a carbon and fat like a brother and sister, and they're both fighting for the limelight in your life to give you the energy source that you need. And the protein is the parent that comes in there and interrupts the fight and tells them, hey, gang, we have a body to move. We have something to repair. We have a body to repair. So, yes, we can combine, and you should combine carbs and fats in your daily diet. If you don't, you may run into some problems later on. That can mess up your hormonal system if you don't have the three micronutrients, protein, carbs, and fats. So I hope that helped you out right there. And if it does, utilize the information. And then, of course, do a comment and put a comment somewhere down at the bottom of the screen here, over here someplace. Give me a comment. And, of course, subscribe to my channel, and send me some more questions. And I'll be glad to help you in your journey, in your pursuit to become more physically fit, lose body fat, or gain some more muscle mass. And once again, I'll just thank you for coming by.